Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome all of you to the today's session on Turnitin Feedback Studio, which was organized by the KDU Library Network in collaboration with the Turnitin India Education Private Limited. Today we are presenting how to work with Turnitin Feedback Studio as an instructor, presented by Mr. Akshay Prasanna from Turnitin India. If you have anything to clarify, we will have time for question at the end. First of all, let me introduce our speaker today, Mr. Akshay Prasanna from Turnitin South Asia. Mr. Akshay comes with a background of learning development and customer success. He holds a bachelor degree in electronic and communication engineering and MBA in international business studies. He has trained more than 400,000 end users of various higher education institutions, corporate, government, research and development divisions of various different solutions and products across Southeast Asia. He has nearly 9 years of experience and earlier worked in organizations like Pearson, IEEE, EBSCO, and is now currently working as Turnitin Xenia Specialist for South Asia. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Mr. Akshay to start the session. Over to you, Mr. Akshay.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, ma'am. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Manjula, ma'am. You have taken every step to coordinate this session. My regards to whole university and you and the whole library team, and to Mr. Rajita as well. I have my colleague, Miss Purna, who is team lead of PES South Asia. She'll be joining you. If you have any questions or queries, you can feel free to talk to us, feel free to chat with us. So before I continue, we would like to keep few thumb rules, that is, please mute yourself so that there is no disturbance. I hope I'm audible with everyone. In case if there is any glitch, please let me know. We will help you out with that. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself or use the chat box or jot down all the questions. We can take up all at the end of the session as well. So today's learning objectives would be what is academic integrity, what is academic misconduct, how Turnitin can help you out, how do you recognize similarity report, how do you narrow down those using the filters, and how do you share the feedback with your students by grading, how you can work, and all these things will be covered with Turnitin assignments, and how do you walk through with Moodle. So that's one extra addition that would be taken care also, and we would be talking about this Moodle interface which you are using as well. So this one more link that has been shared by Ms. Purna on the chat box, which is related to Turnitin Feedback Studio Educator Training. Please use this URL. Kindly register yourself. You will be able to get some knowledge about how do you use Feedback Studio. It's a weekly basis update that you get. It's a 10-week program. You will be able to get some good learning objectives there. So please use this URL, which is put in the chat box. You can make use of it at any point of time. So I want to start with some kind of a quiz. There is one quiz that I want to just check how the understanding is there. We don't reveal any of your names. We don't do any of your cross-checking and nothing like that. We just want to know how you can understand about it. The first question would be about what is plagiarism. So you can choose any of these answers. I'll give you a minute, 5 seconds now. I request everyone to answer this question. So it's popped up in your screen. Please choose the right answer. What report do you get in Turnitin? I think many of you have heard about Turnitin. Many of you have been using Turnitin. Your institution has Turnitin. So please choose the right answer. What do you get? So do you get plagiarism report? Do you get similarity report? Do you get both? So 30 seconds now and 30 seconds left. I'm recording the session. You will get the recording, Mr. Prasad. So 49 people have answered, 40 more people can answer it. Just please click on any of this which you feel that's right. No need to worry if the answer is wrong also. We're going to talk about it. Okay, 1 minute now. Let me end the poll and share the results with you. So this was the answer that we got. Most of them have answered both. 15 people were right, which is similarity report, and 9 people have answered plagiarism. No tool in the world will give you plagiarism report. All the tools would give you similarity index report. So have this understanding. I'll share more about it. I'll talk more about it. You will be able to understand how do we define plagiarism. That's a very important thing. According to Merriam-Webster online dictionary, you get to plagiarism if you steal anyone's text, anyone's literature, and pass off the ideas, and you don't give them the citation, you don't give them the attribution to it. So that will lead to plagiarism. So you can know more about it. The URL is here at the bottom, so you can use this at any point of time, and you can know more about plagiarism. What you get in Turnitin is called as similarity index report. So the difference between plagiarism and similarity is quite a difference. So plagiarism is something that is declared by the reviewer. Similarity will be identified by the software. Text to text matching is called as similarity index, and the report is based on the databases that we have. So plagiarism is fairly concept which will tell you that you have steal someone's work and you are plagiarized. That is declared by the reviewer. Whereas text similarity will tell you this is the percentage of similarity that is identified by the software. Please review it and try to reduce it below the acceptable norms. So have this understanding very well. So whatever is highlighted here on the right hand side will show you the similarity that is matching with other documents which is already published, or which is there in public domain, or which is there in any of the internet sources. So you will be able to identify those things and reduce the similarity accordingly. So what are the consequences of having plagiarism? So if someone is plagiarized, the institution names gets hampered. It will ruin your reputation. So that's why institutions spend so much money to have these kind of softwares. Someone might get suspended or expelled from the school or an institution, or someone might lose their promotions, lose their jobs. They might get into courts and other things because there are a lot of laws against it also, or you might get into all of this. So these are the realistic consequences that anyone can get into plagiarism. So to avoid plagiarism, what Turnitin gives you and helps you is to compare with the largest database that is available in the world, which covers about 72 billion web pages, where one of the major database that we have is Crossref database, where 1300 publishers are covered in this. About 50 million journals are used for this Crossref database, which helps you to identify whether your student text is matching with any of those journal articles, any of these conference articles, any of those ebooks. All this are covered. Along with that, you get student papers. About 2 billion web pages, 2 billion documents are there in student papers. Current and archive databases also. Historical data is also available, along with journals and publications. So if you calculate, about 72 billion web pages are there, and we keep adding every day to day. So 8 petabyte of content is what we crawl under. We have it in our database. And all these are something which is related to research, which is related to publications, which is related to literature survey and other things. You will be able to, for example, there are other databases which holds thesis also, like ProQuest thesis database, that also gets covered. This image which is shown here will tell you about how plagiarism is there. So can increase the volume. Yeah, I think I'm at the maximum level. If still I'm not audible, I'm at the maximum level, I guess. So if there is any audit or audio issues, please let me know. Puna, you can confirm me if I'm audible. Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah, I can hear you fine,
Okay.
Akshay.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, sir. Okay, good to go. So this image shows that if you are using any free tools which surfaces only the internet pages, which is freely available, but what Turnitin gives you is this 89% of similarity cases, which is there with student work and scientific publications, which was spoken about in our previous slide also. And this is what it indicates. We give you something which is not published also, which is accepted for publication, which is called as Crossref posted content. You get that data also. So which is which is not in public domain, which is not in open access, you get that access also, and it will show you similarity. We were able to identify about 21 million unoriginal papers. This was US data analytics, but we didn't do anything which is related to South Asia, but this was the data. So when we talk about unoriginal work, there are a lot of things that comes in picture. Student collision, it might be mosaic plagiarism. This is happening a lot these days, where students tries to combine from multiple publications and try to write an article. So if I talk about it, I'll give you a better example. If I'm working on artificial intelligence, I take data from IEEE, I take data from Elsevier, I take data from Springer. I try to collate everything and try to publish. That's nothing but mosaic plagiarism. So the tools are building every day today. You will be able to find out down the lane about code similarity also. You will be able to identify contract cheating. In fact, contract cheating, now we have some tool called as Authorship Investigate. So these are the few ways to identify unoriginal work. Any point of time you need more inputs about it, we are happy to help you. So tips to avoid plagiarism and researching. So when you're seeing this recording, please go through this. There are few data inputs. There's a lot of text here, but you can do multiple things. One thing I always speak about is speak about the norms. I'm going to talk about this in next slide. That is defined policy. So when you are talking about holistic support, always before checking your documents, have to have this understanding who is going to review my document. So for example, in India, there is UGC policies. In Bangladesh also, in Sri Lanka also, there might be an UGC policy. So what is that defined policy? If I talk Elsevier, if I speak about Elsevier Journal, they have their own defined policy. So when we speak about defined policy, what is the similarity acceptance rate? First thing to know, 10%, 20%, 30% will be the similarity acceptance rate, where they might also tell you we are excluding bibliographic materials, we are excluding quoted materials, and threshold of words. I'm going to talk about that also. So this awareness is not there with your end users, with your students. What we are trying to communicate with you all faculty is this. We are creating you awareness and talking about that. So that's the important thing that we are supposed to do, and educate the students to write proper citations to avoid plagiarism. This will really help the integrity practices, and it will help you to keep the institution plagiarize free. So if you incorporate any policies for your institution, it will protect your values also. Please have some policies for your projects. For example, in some institutions which we have worked, they have their own internal policy. Any projects that comes from students, this is the similarity acceptance rate, 30%, 40%. Any assignment that comes from student, this is the acceptance rate. And but we exclude bibliographic materials. I'll tell you what are the bibliographic materials consist of, your citations, references, and all those things. I'll speak about quoted materials also when we are going on the live platform. So what does Turnitin documents do is, when you upload a document, we do document to document comparison. Your document is compared with all the Turnitin repositories, and it gives you the similarity report. In that document, it does literature to literature matching, which gives you similarity report, which is in the form of percentage, 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever it is. You can download this report. You can share this report with your student or give the access to students also. Also, you can use grammatic check tool called as ETS Erater, which will help you to check grammatic mistakes. You can do grading, you can do peer mark, you can do voice comments, and also ultimately you can avoid plagiarism. If you're able to do all these things and be in the permissible limits, you will be able to avoid plagiarism. So these are the key things that you can do, and you will be able to, it's one of the authentic login. Do not, I'll share you what are the do's and don'ts at the end, but please do not share your password with anyone. If you share it, then we can't control who is taking your content. Until unless you don't share it, you're good to save your documents. No one will be able to see your documents. Instructor plays a vital role. Instructor here is faculties. They play a vital role. So what tool that we are going to demonstrate today is called as Turnitin Feedback Studio. That's the tool that you are using in your institution. We have three types of roles. One is administrator, who handholds the institution, who is one point of contact. Manjula ma'am is handling this. So she will be able to create accounts for faculties, that is instructor account, who in turn can create classes, who can create student accounts, who can check their assignments. So all these three things can be done by faculty. You can do it in two places, one in your native platform, and in your LMS. Your LMS should have courses created, only then you can do it. Your students can submit their documents independently. Uh, it's Ms. Tanuja who is handling the administrator account, the chief librarian. Mrs. Tanuja is handling it, not Manjula ma'am. Sorry to correct myself. Student papers is with respect to whatever documents that you're giving in assignment. Both native platform can take those assignments, even the LMS also. I'll talk about both of the things. This is how the report looks like, which will show percentage, where you can give quick marks, where you can give comments, rubrics, voice comments, EKC rater, etc. Just a glimpse of it. We always have this example for TFS, which shows Temple of Education, which helps your students' original writing to increase, and risk mitigation can be decreased if you're using feedback mechanism. Most of the time, student will not get right feedback, which will lead to too much work, which will have too much of what you call as repeated work, which will have to review the documents again and again. But mitigating risk in the sense, original writing should improve. That will help with feedback. Proper feedback by a faculty will be right decision at right time. So this will really help. You can also give voice comments with native platform, 3 minutes voice comments. We can tell each and every student, with current pandemic, everyone working virtually, every student working virtually, this voice feedback will really help you a lot. You can use it at any point of time. Any document that you upload should have password protected turned off. It should not be password protected. It should always be without password. It should have minimum of 20 words. It should have less than 800 pages and less than 100 MB. So these are the file requirements. I can talk about what are the file types, like PDF file, Excel file, HTML file, Word file. All these standard formats can be accepted. So I'll show you that example also. So to put it into practice, I'll take you across the live platform. Let's see how the document looks like. How do we create a student account? How do you upload this document and other things? I'll just give you a glimpse of it. So this is the homepage of Turnitin, www.turnitin.com. We don't create any login ID and password and give it to you. We take your first name, last name, and email ID and create it. So I'm logging in. Before I log in, just go through this homepage whenever you have some time. This has a lot of study materials about plagiarism, about any other similarity report, interpretation, and other things. You can get to know about it. We have also a status page on the homepage. If there is any technical glitch, if you subscribe, you get that data also. So I'm logging in with my mail ID and password here. The moment I log in, it will really help me to understand this. I have a master account which has access to administrator, instructor, and student, all three. Okay, so this is my homepage. Okay, so I have some network issues. I think that's why there's a delay. So you can see here, my name is visible on the left-hand side, Akshay Prasanna, and then administrator, instructor, and student. Three types of login is there. I'm not going to talk about administrator because none of them are required to know about it except Tanuja ma'am. So let me go to the instructor account directly. All that administrator account can be doing is giving you access, that is faculty, and removing your access. And also what it can do is it can also they can also see the statistics. That's the only three things that an administrator can do. But here, an instructor, this is a home page of an instructor. Look at this, how many classes I have. All the classes that I handle have created one class for each of them. But you will see an empty page. You will not see two sections like this. You will have only one section like this. You will see your institution name, and you will be able to see your name also on top of the page once. So always give your proper name, first name, Akshay Prasanna, in the sense it should be Akshay first name, last name should be Prasanna. If your admin gives as Akshay P and you're trying Prasanna at your end, you will not be able to log in only. So always ensure that your first name and last name and email ID is given properly to the administrator to get the access for Turnitin. Is there any questions till now? If you have anything, please use the chat box or you can unmute yourself. Okay, I'll take it as no. If there's anything, please intervene. So first step that every faculty has to do is click on add class here. The moment you click on add class, you can create a class in two ways. One is standard class, the second one is master class. Standard class is something I create a class for myself and my students, and I check the assignments. Whereas masterclass is something where I can add a teaching assistant also, TA. So you have it in LMS also, you have it here also. I'm taking you across your LMS also, and second part of the session I'll talk about that also. Let's keep any class name. So if I give it as electronics and communication engineering, okay, so I can give your institution name, I can give anything like that, but I'm going to give it as ECE 2021 batch, fourth year. Okay, this is my class, and my subject area is field theory. I'll give it as FT. This is my subject area. I'm just giving it. If it is something else, you can give it as surgery. If you want to give it as general medicine, you can give it as general medicine. Whatever the students documents you're going to check, give their details here, give the class name there, give the enrollment key also, which is available for you, which is known to you, which you can set as a password for this class. This is the password only for the surgery class, for fourth year students only. If I have third year students, I'll create some other class and I'll give the separate enrollment key there. I need to give the subject area. If it is medical related, I'll give it as science, general, or something like that. Or you have any subject area which is related to that, you can give it accordingly over here. If you're health and physical education, I can give it that also. You can do multiple subject areas also. Student level, whatever the student level. If it's postgraduate, give it as PG. If it is undergraduate, give it as UG. And career and technical. You can check your own documents. Faculties can check their own documents. My class, my research, my thesis, give the class name like that, and you can give the student level till when the class is existing. Let's take an example. Till next academic year, I'll keep it till June 2022 30th. Okay, I'll keep it as subject. So till next year this class will be existing. Have created one class, but I'll be giving multiple assignments under this class. If you share this class ID and enrollment key with your students, they can take up your assignments. I'll show you how do you do it also. So now you can see here EC fourth year 2020 surgery is done. The class is created here. How to get enrollment key? Is it my own creation? Could you please explain? Vasuki, so if I have to talk about it, so it's not mm, enrollment key, you only type it. If it is alphanumeric, you can give alphanumeric. If it is so what do you call as only numerics, you can give it as numerics. However you want, you create your password. Do not share it with other students except the specific students. So I have 10 students who has to take up this class. I'll give it to only to that 10 students. Class ID is auto generated. Enrollment key, I type it. I type on my own. Alphanumeric, numerics, minimum of 6 characters. It can go to 8, 9 and 10 also. So that's very important. So the moment you create class, you can see here my research, IITG, NAIS, test account, my research. So I've created multiple classes here. According to my requirement, I have created that accordingly. Okay, so let me go to the class that we have created now. I'll create an assignment here. Very important step. Okay, so there was some disturbance. I've muted accordingly. And so the first thing is adding assignment here. I create an assignment. You give the settings here. The settings part is very much important because this will play a vital role. How do you set things accordingly? So when I click on add assignment, I can keep the assignment settings accordingly. You can do this in LMS also. So please have an eye on this. Whether you're using LMS or the native platform of Turnitin, you can do the settings. So we have enabled all those things using the admin account earlier. So you can give the assignment title. So for example, we are giving May assignment to your students. So May 2021, this is May test, I'll give it as. And I want to measure the students with some points, I'll give it as 25 points. So I'll measure the students with 25 points also. On the right hand side, assignment start date is there. You cannot set class start date, but you can set the assignment start date. Some faculties, what they do is they preset the assignment dates and due date also. So due date, before what date the student has to submit. So it's a May assignment. I want them to submit before 31st May. Post date is something where you can share your feedback. So here there is something post date where I'll start sharing my feedback. So I'll start sharing my feedback from tomorrow. So what I'll do is I'll keep it as 25th. I'll tell you the reason I'm keeping tomorrow is I can check similarity between two students also. You have extended repository option where you can check in between the class if the student has copied, in between the institution if the student has copied, you can do that also. I'm going to talk about that. So everyone will do this and they'll click on submit. They'll not do the optional settings. Is there any questions till now before I get into yourself? I mean, any questions here? No, okay, all right. Thank you so much. So optional settings here will help you to give any kind of instructions. I want students to, I want only APA format of citation. I'm telling the student to keep APA format of citation only. I want the abstract to be less than 500 words, abstract to be less than 500 words. So I'm telling the students to do all the settings before they submit. Also allow submission after due date. You can set it accordingly whether you want to take submissions after due date or not. Here actually you can set the time also. And also generate similarity report for submission should always be yes. If you set as no, it will not generate any report for you. Then you might tell Akshay, Turnitin is not working. That's because you've set it as no. Generate similarity report for student submission. You have three options. All the settings are there in your LMS. Please keep an eye on this. Immediately, first report is final in the sense only one report gets generated, and that will be a final report for your student. Can overwrite until due date will allow your students to generate multiple reports, will help your students to generate multiple reports. On due date, the report gets generated only on the due date. So there are two ways that you can do it. So three ways you can do it. However you want to do it, you can select that option. I always insist on the second option where student can do repeated checks till the last date and they can align it accordingly. Here comes exclude bibliographic materials. Every tab here has a help section which will help you to understand what exactly it does. If you say yes, bibliographic materials gets excluded. I can share you a link to this which tells what exactly the bibliographic materials gets excluded. For example, references, citations, works cited, all this gets excluded. So you can do this exclusion if your reviewer says you can do bibliographic exclusion. What do you mean by quoted materials? So this is very important thing. If I say yes here, all the quoted materials get excluded. What do we mean by quoted materials here is, which is standard statements, definitions, all this are coming under quoted materials. Always people tell that, Akshay, how do I give a standard statements like something which is related to surgery, a common terminology, or maybe a common statement is there. For example, Newton's law. I quote it in double quotes. For example, there is a saying in English which cannot be cited. I cannot give any citation. For Newton's law, what page number, what citation, which publisher will you mention there? You cannot give anything. So you quote it in double quotes. Single quotes will not work, only double quotes. Please have an eye on this. Law colleges use this very drastically because they use amendments for writing thesis. Amendments cannot be rewritten. If you rewritten or paraphrase it, it will become false amendments. So I quote it in double quotes. So this is very important step. So if your reviewer is going to exclude quoted materials, you can also exclude quoted materials. This is very important. These two are very important. Then comes small sources. If you say this will be default no, you should say yes. These settings are very important and you can do it only one time. Okay, the moment you want to change it, you can change it, but once you do it, it will be there for you. So have an eye on this. Quoted materials threshold of words. Every publisher has certain word limit. Some has 5, some has 10, some has 7. So whatever their word limit is there, you can give the word count here. Every publisher has publication recommender. If you go there, you will be able to identify. For thesis, it is something different. Whatever the norms are of your university, you can set that word count here. Allow students to see similarity report. If you say yes, if you give Turnitin access to student, they can see the similarity report. So have it, your choice. Enable translated matching, please say yes. This gives you access to 40 international languages. Those 40 international languages will help you to understand if the student has copied from any international languages and have they converted to English. You will be able to identify these are the 40 international languages. At any point of time, if the student copies something, we have enabled this. You can also enable to yes, so that it will give you translated matching. Translated matching is different. ETSE rater is different. Both are different. So this is translated matching. Yes, you will be able to get it. Presentation, I'm not sure. But the recording is definitely available. Thanks, Puna. Uh, Anonymous marking is something which we have not enabled yet to for your institution. If you want it, we can get it enabled. The reason is this anonymous marking will help you to disable the student name. For fair valuation, you can do this. I don't want to see my student's name. I can say yes. So this tab you will not see right now, but if you want to get it enabled, we can get it enabled. We can discuss this at the end of the session. Submit papers to, you have 4 options now. People who have used it earlier had only 2 options: standard repository, no repository. Now we have given you 4 options. Default is standard paper repository. Please have an eye. I have been told to have this section very importantly. That's why we are doing this prior. So standard paper repository will be default option. Do not select this option until unless you want to save the documents and turn it in cloud. What does this do? I'll tell you. If standard repository is selected, all your student documents get saved in Turnitin Cloud. You will check the document again, the same document again, it will show 100% similar. So you're not supposed to select this if you're going to use it multiple option. So if someone's account is not showing this option called add class, so there is a question in my account, there is no option called as add class. So let me just cross check because if they have added you or not, I need to check on that. If your account is disabled or enabled, we need to check on that also. I'll share you my mail ID. Please share your details and screenshot. We will check it with the backend team accordingly. So coming back here, submit papers to, there is 4 options. Always choose no repository, which will allow you to check these documents multiple number of times. So your student checks today, it shows 30%. Your student checks tomorrow, it should reduce if there is any changes, if they've done any paraphrasing, any recorrection. And it is not always it will reduce, it might increase if they have copied again more. So no repository will allow you to check multiple number of times. Whereas standard repository where you can use is where you're using student projects for 2021 batch. If you don't want the same projects to be used by students of 20 to 23 batch, then you can use standard repository. What it does is it will save all the projects in Turnitin Cloud, and any student in Sri Lanka or anywhere in the globe, if they use the same project, it will show a student paper of so and so university, your university, general KDU or KDU university, it will show that. So you will be able to avoid it. That is standard repository. Institutional paper repository will help you to identify if the student from class A has copied from class B is copied from class C. It will help you to identify this. Institutional paper repository. Student choice repository will help you to identify if the student has copied between the class. In my class, which I have created right now, if any of my students copies from each other, it will help you to identify that. So how you want to do the checking, you can check that. But I always insist, keep it no repository until unless you want to use any of these options at any point of time. So feel free to do this. Okay, any point of time you can do this checking, whatever it is there any questions with related to this, you can feel free to ask, but please make sure you clear this. Okay, Purna has made it clear also. If there's any questions, you can ask us. All right, so moving on, search options, everything should be selected here. Do not deselect any of these options. All this should be selected. Grading, I have something which is for awareness program, which I've already created. I'll tell you how you can create your own rubrics also, and quick marks. ETSE rater default will be no. Enable this to keep it as yes, so that ETS grammatic check will happen. We are non-English speaking countries. I'll keep the English level to high school, and both US and UK dictionaries is what I'm going to use. So whichever you want, you can take it accordingly. And also spelling will be default deselected. If you want to select spelling check also, you can do this also. Spell check can also happen. So once you do all these settings, have a cross check again from top to bottom. If you want to have the same settings for your future assignments, select this option or check this box, would like to have this option for future assignments, and you can click on submit. The moment you do this, all your settings are selected. So you're good to go. You can check your documents by clicking on view, or you can upload your student's document by clicking on view. You can click on submit file. You can give the first name of the student like this, last name of the student. You can give the submission title. You can either choose from computer, Dropbox, or Google Drive. Any of these options are available. I'll choose from computer right now. And also, before I proceed here, you can do single file upload, multiple file, cut and paste, and zip file also. Any of this option can be done. And also it will be showing here, this file you're submitting will not be added to any repository. So it gives you a note also. So let's upload one of the file. Taking one document, clicking on open and upload. So uploading one of the document. The moment it gets uploaded, it will give you a notification also. So 2-page document, how many word counts are there? How many characters are there? All these details are given here. The moment I click on confirm, it gets confirmed. Now you're good to see the similarity percentage. I'll talk about it once I get into assignment inbox. So the similarity percentage gets generated here, and you will be able to see that. If your student submits any document also, it will reflect here and it will tell you who is the author. For your student, there is a different interface. When they upload, when we do the student session, I'll talk about it. There is how they enroll in a class, how they do it, and all those things. But if you want to give access to specific students, just go to Students tab here below Turnitin logo. The moment you go to Student tab, you can click on Add Student here. The moment you click on Add Student, you give the first name of the student, last name, and email ID. If you want to give access to whole class, all that you have to do is upload list. You can click on student upload list is there, or upload student list is here. You can use this Excel sheet as an example, column A, column B, column C. The moment you use column A, column B, column C, first name, last name, email ID, no serial number, no title, nothing. Just their first name, last name, email ID. You upload the list. Up to 99 students can be added in one go. And all those 99 students get an access. Not every faculty should give an access to students. If I am handling a class which is already handled by Manjula ma'am, or Tanuja ma'am, all three of us are handling together. So they have already given the access of Turnitin. I don't give them, I don't add them. I just share their class ID and enrollment key. So for your students also, ask your students whether they have Turnitin access. If they have it, just give the class ID and enrollment key. I'll just show you a glimpse of it. Student will go to their account. They'll click, see here, there is no EC, that class which we have added now, that is not there. They'll click on enroll in a class student. They will give the class ID. They'll give the enrollment key shared by you. They'll click on submit. The moment they get into Turnitin, they'll see the class now. EC 2021 fourth year surgery, which we created, is there. So the moment you do this, you will be able to, the student will see the info here. I want only APA format of citation. You have put this comment. I did this. Abstract to be less than 500 words. I did this. And it is also giving other comments also. It will show you start date, due date, everything for the student. They'll click on submit and they'll upload. Simple as that. So there is no hard work and everything. Settings and all is done by you. Student will upload. The moment they upload, you will be able to see the similarity percentage. Now, let me see whether the report is generated. If not, I'll take some other class and I'll show you the example. I'll click on view. Now, see 100% similarity it is showing. The moment I click on this 100% similarity, it will tell me from which sources it is taken care. But I'll take a better example, which is not too high, not too low. But this is just to give you a glimpse whenever you upload a document, how the document will look like. We will interpret the document in the similarity report later on. So this is 100% similarity showing. I'll show you a better example later on. Coming here, we saw that how the students access is given. There is something called as grade book, which will tell you how the student scores are there. If you are using LMS, fine, or else this will also give you all those features, creating class, creating assignment and other things. It will also give you how the student reports are there. You can see this attendance, you can export this reports, you can upload it in your LMS. All these things can be done. There is something called as library section, which is very important, where you can create your quick marks. I'll tell you what quick marks can do, how it is going to help you out, but this is the place where you can create your quick marks. This quick mark section will help you to create your own set. For example, I am a faculty of surgery. I have certain comments. I usually use it for my students. So I can create this quick marks here. There is rubric manager, which will help you to create rubrics also. Right now, I'm using certain rubrics for the user awareness. I'll show you that example. That rubric manager will give you a better example. How do you want to grade your students? So rubrics will be defined on two ways. One is by scales, one is by criteria. So both the things, it is taking some time. I think it's my internet which is struggling. Anyway. So this is rubric manager, and then comes peer mark questions. So okay, let the rubrics get loaded. We will talk about it. But this is the place where you can create your own rubrics, create your own quick marks. Okay, anyway, it loaded. I'll just show you an example for it. This is sixth and eighth argument. There are few predefined one. What I'm going to do for today's session is, this is one that I'm using for awareness program. You can see on the left hand side is the criteria, on the right hand side is the scales. I've cleared, I've given the criteria based on 100%. 40% is for idea, 30% is for topic, 30% for details. You can also create it. I'll give you a user guide which will help you to understand how do you create the rubric also, how do you make rubrics, how do you create rubrics and other things. Calendar is another tab which will help you to see which assignment is starting on what date, which assignment is ending on what date. Month wise, date wise, you will be able to identify that. If you want to have any discussion with your students, you can create this discussion tab and post any new topic and do the discussions also. The same thing is there in your LMS. So if you're using it, you can use there also. Preferences tab to set your settings. So now for the faculty who said that translated matching is not working, please come to preferences. Here is translated matching. Enable this, check this box. You need to use this. You need to check all this box that will enable everything, every feature that is there in Turnitin. So whoever didn't see that option, please note here it is. So you can do this in preferences tab. So these are the things that you can do it, and you can analyze it. Now let me show you how do you interpret the documents, like how do you see the similarity report. I'll take one example for that. Let me show you something which is there in my other classes, which shows neither too high, neither too low, which is on an average one. So let me take this document. I'll click on view. Let's take something which is 30% of similarity. This 30% of similarity will show you what exactly this document has in the similarity. This is not 30% plagiarized. This is 30% similarity. Have some eye on this. This is very important. How do you interpret the similarity report? How do you give comments to your students? How do you give feedback to your students? So that is the thing that you need to do. So when I click on 30, you will be able to see from which all sources the student match is happening. Let's take an example. This is my document. I have not copied single letter from anyone, but it is showing 30% of similarity. So first thing that I do is, okay, this is 16%. So you can see here, this is from internet source. I didn't copy anything, but it is showing matching. So what I do is I click on this full text view. Can you see this tab that is visible here? The moment I click on this full text view, the full text will open up on the right hand side if it is open access. If it is paid one, it will give you the link. You can go to that URL and open up. If you are subscribing for that journal, it will open the full text. And if you're there in your institution, because all the journals and other things are IP based, if you're taking it IP based, so then then it will open up if you're if they are there in an institution. If not, it will not give you full text. Now see this, all this text are matching. So that's why it is showing 16% of similarity from this source. The second source is from this. So red is danger, green is okay, nothing like that. This red is from this source, this green is from this source. The moment you click on the full text, it will open up the full text for you. You can also go to this URL. It will open up the URL also, and it will show you from which source the text is matching. You can open up that full text article. You can download it. You can read it, do whatever you want. You can do it accordingly. So this is how you will be able to identify the similarity score. If you want to exclude something, you can exclude it from this one. When you come to all sources tab, you can click on exclude source and you can remove it. But I don't recommend this. This is only for self citation, where self plagiarism is coming, where the student has given citation for themselves, then only you can do it. But I don't recommend. This is your choice. Whenever you want to do it, you can do it. But let me show you the filters. When I do the filters, I've excluded bibliography, excluded quoted materials, and threshold of words is 14. If we don't do any of this, will there be any change in the similarity percentage? If there is bibliographic materials that was excluded, that gets included now. The quoted materials have been included. The threshold of words have been included. From 30, it increased to 31. Normally, it increases more, but this document didn't have much of it. That's why it is like 31. So if you have blocked some sources, it will show here. So if you have excluded some sources, it will show here. Now, this was related to plagiarism, that is similarity. Now, how do we give feedback to our students? So let's see the similarity percentage here. So the document is looking like this. The document is showing like this. Now the student was supposed to do some changes. So I need to give some comments. So what I do is I'll tell the students you need to give topic here. I'll drag and drop needs topic here. This is predefined composition related. So if I want to change something to myself, so for example, there is something on student also. So Purna quick marks. So Purna has her own quick marks here. So full stop is required here. I'll drag and drop full stop is required here. So you can have your own quick marks, which will tell you that quick marks is there in your name, and you can drag and drop those. So include stronger example to support this thesis, like that. Okay, paraphrase match text it is. So you can do here, you can click on it and you can add your comment also, why you're telling this. And also if you want to convert it to quick mark, you can convert this to quick mark also, and you can assign it to rubrics also. That is also possible. So this is one way of commenting. The second way is by voice comment, where you give 3 minutes voice comments. I always used to go to my faculty and ask for feedback. They used to tell orally 50 comments. In that 30, I used to forget. Only 20 I used to do. In that 10 is to be wrong. Now, if the faculty gives me comments like this, it will be very easier for me. And also there is one more called as comment section here, where you tap on any of the tab, you click on this second option and you can give a comment and tell, like you can tell refer this article, refer this URL. Let me give the URL here. URL you can type here www.google.com. I'm just giving an example here. How do you do it? You can convert this as a quick mark also. Okay, and you can bold it, you can italics, you can save it, you can do whatever it is. It will leave as a comment here. So the comments is given now. If you want to type something and share the feedback, tap anywhere that you want to type, click on this text annotation and start typing the feedback. So this will help the student to analyze that this is the way you are giving the document analysis. This is what the student are supposed to change. Now, once you give all your feedback, if you want to grade the student, so let me say idea is 4 points I'm giving. So you can see it, if idea is somewhat clear or idea easy to identify, then I give the least score. If idea or topic is easy to identify, I give him the top score. The same goes with topic. The moment I click on topic, the topic also will come here. So details accordingly. So the student gets first score for 5 points. When I click on apply to grade, then it will calculate for 25 because we wanted to get the score for 25. Once I do this, the grade gets published and student will be able to see it. If you want to see the rubrics or do the changes, you can do it here. These two, the cog icon and this expand icon, will show you how the rubrics is working. You can do the changes. Ultimately, if you want to do the grammatic check also, you can click on ETS E-Rater, which will give you the grammatic mistakes in this document. If there is any grammatic mistakes, so missing quotes it is showing. When you click on it, review the rules for using punctuations, and you can give the comment here with this for the student. So if you want to go to other parts of the document, you will be able to see. So for example, see here, SP here means spelling mistake is there. Okay, multinational spelling is wrong. So you can give the right answer, multinational, and tell the student do the changes, or once they see the comment, they will do it accordingly. So you have commented also and tell the student what exactly is their mistakes. Once you are done with all this grammatic check also, it does only for 64,000 characters. Please keep that in mind. You can download the report in 3 ways: current view report, digital receipt, and original submitted file. Always download current view report, which will give you an in detail report. The same settings are there in your this thing as well, what you call as Moodle account. I'll show you that also. So I'm preparing to download this. This is current view report, which is getting downloaded. Once it gets downloaded, you will see all the feedback, all the comments, all the similarity index matching and everything. So you will be able to see that report. Also, there is something called as digital receipt, which will give you one page report, which will give you one page document, who is the author, what document title it is, and other things. And then there is original submitted file, which will give you the same old PDF or Word file or PowerPoint, whatever file the student has submitted. So you can do whatever you want, you can download at any point of time. So let the document gets downloaded. So this is paper ID. If any mistake, any document is saved in any of the file and you want to get it deleted, we need this paper ID. This is very important. This is very important to get the documents to be deleted. Now, let this get downloaded. We will talk about it more. I'll take you across to the Moodle account, which is how your document looks like in your Moodle account of KDU. So this is the account for KDU. Moodle 3.8 version is what you're using. So let me refresh if I'm using this. So I'll go to my LMS homepage. So I know everyone has, most of you have the LMS access. So it is showing as nw.lms.kdu.ac.lk. So you know this URL, you come to, you log in as your instructor. Now I'm showing as test teacher here. The moment you log in, you will be logging in here. You have courses under your courses that is being assigned by your Moodle admin. So you can click on the courses, either courses, whichever multiple courses are there. Then there is recently accessed courses also. Click on the course that you are having it. This is in Moodle platform. Please have it in mind. One we have already created just for our demo. Let me take topic 2 here. I'll come to topic 2. Let me click on this cog item on the right hand side. There is something called as edit settings here. The moment I click on edit settings, I'll be able to do the assignment settings here. So I'll click on it. Just a second, sorry. Let me go back. I'll turn the editing off first. I've turned on the editing, that's why it was not showing you. So let's turn off the editing. You will see like this. You need to click on this cog icon and edit turned on. Turned on, the editing is there.
Sure.
Click on this option. The moment you do this, you will be able to see this edit options here. The drop down, topic 1 is already created. So here is topic 2. You can see add activity or resources. So you can click on this option. Okay, let me click. Here you see Turnitin assignment 2. So for any of your courses that you have, you want to use Turnitin and check similarity. These are the steps. So click on this Turnitin assignment 2 and click on add option. The moment you do that, you will get Turnitin access to your Moodle course, whichever topics, which for few courses you might need Turnitin, for few courses you might not, for few topics you need, for few topics you might not. So give the assignment title here, TFS demo 2. Okay, TFS demo 2, and give the summary of the assignment. So here you can tell whatever the assignment should be. Special instructions tab is there in Turnitin Feedback Studio. The same way you give the summary here. Submission type, any kind of submission or file type or text submission, whatever choice it is yours. So you can give that option. Number of parts is there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Purna, can you step up here? What exactly is this? I'm not sure. Allows the creation of multiple part of us.
Yeah. Hi, Akshay. Yeah, so ideally it should be kept as one because I think Moodle allows you to upload submissions in parts. But for Turnitin, if you need to generate the similarity report, please select one there. Also, submission type, ideally select file upload because that's how the submissions will be made. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Purna. So you do this submission type, you get all this help section here also. Maximum file size is 100 MB. So do not change this limit because Turnitin supports up to 100 MB. So keep it that. Allow submission of any file type. So keep it no here, allow submission of any file type. If you say yes, it will take LaTeX also. But sometimes you will not be able to use the feedback mechanism. So always use the standard formats: PDF, Word file, Excel file, HTML, PowerPoint, etc. Display originality report for students, your call whether you want to show the original reports or similarity index report. You can do it. Grade display, you can take a call. Show grades by fraction or percentage. Normally I think it's percentage which we have seen, but your choice it is.
These are IBIS model based
Model based.
settings, so you can do as per what you do for your model based. But submit a display originality report to students, ideally select yes, because otherwise you will not be able to use this as a formative tool. Because even if they're generating it, it's the same way that the settings that you use for the native platform. If they don't see it, they'll not be able to see the feedback and whatever comments you put in there.
Thanks, Purna.
Can I ask a question there?
Yes, yes.
I'm
Sure.
Dr. Nirupul from Faculty of Engineering.
Yes, yes.
In that, you selected on top and above, you selected at one place, any file type can be uploaded, file upload, right? But here, allow submission of any file type, you have selected no. Why is that?
Yeah, Purna.
Should I take it?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Thanks. Yeah, that's because Turnitin does not generate a similarity report for all file types. So, for example, if it is an image file, if it is a video file, it will not generate a report and it will throw up an error. So that's the reason we kind of see a no there, so that only those file types which are allowed will be selected. It's a similar
PDF
setting
or
that.
Word, right?
I'm sorry.
PDF or Word?
It's PDF, Word, Excel. There's a whole lot of it. Yeah.
Okay. Could you please click the submission type as well, file upload, and there's something more. Could you please click on it? Hello?
Ma'am,
Akshay,
you
can
have.
you hear us?
No, ma'am, I think there is a lot of disturbance. We didn't get that question. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, could you please click on submission type? There's a file upload option, and
Yes.
there was some
Yes. Text submission, any submission type.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So if you select any submission type, then we have to select allow submission of any file type, yes, as well, isn't it?
Please choose file upload so that you can
Yeah,
upload Word file or PDF file or Excel file or PowerPoint. If you do text submission, you might have to do cut and paste, which is not feasible. File upload must be the best option that you feel to select, and you can upload any file, or your student can upload any file in their account.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that is where it is. Then there is grades. If you want to do the grading according to your Moodle account, how do you do gradings and all? You can set that. Assignment password, that is start date, due date. You can do it here as well. Original report submissions, this is where we did all the settings in our native account. If you see, allow submission after due date, report generation, we had 3 options. Student cannot resubmit, they can check 3 submissions. Report generates after 24 hours. So this is, let me explain you. The student resubmission is until due date. The report can be checked thrice. After third checking, they have to wait 24 hours. The moment 24 hours is done, they can again do 3 checkings. So they can keep doing this until due date. So this is the same settings which we showed in Turnitin native account also. And here also you have these 3 settings, whichever is feasible, you can do it. So store repository, no repository, which is feasible always. This is better option. And again, all this bibliography, quoted materials are there. Translated matching, I'll keep it as yes. So you can use translated matching also. Small matches, if it is 10 words, you can give 10 words. If it is 5 words, you can give 5 words. However you want, you can do the settings. Grade mark options also is there. If you have any rubrics, you can launch rubrics, and that ETSE rater is there. We have selected to yes, high school English, both US and UK dictionaries. So once you do all these things, you can save and return to course or save and display. So either of these two you can do. And if you have any other Moodle settings that you would like to do it, which you do it on day-to-day basis, you can do it accordingly. But right, let me click on save and display so that I get an understanding about it. Even you can check the documents even in Moodle, or you can ask your student also to do the same. Is there any error that is it throwing? So all my settings are done, and the assignment is set and everything. So now we can upload a document and see the similarity report also. So this feasibility is there with everyone. So anyone who wants to do it, you can do it. So now I can go and upload it in my student's account. So you can log in with your student account. Let me show you that. So I'll log in with my student account. This is the trial which we are using for your test. So I'm logging it with my student account just to show us one kind of interface that we have. Okay, this is student account. What the student will do is they'll see their courses here. Okay, so you can see here KDU practice is there. So let me click on the course that is given to the student. So we added topic 2, that is TFS demo 2. The student will click on this demo. Whatever the instructions is given, that will be visible for the student. They can upload the document accordingly. So submission title, I'll give it as test. Submit paper. Submission title, I'll give it as test. Now file upload is what you can do here. So you can add submission. I'm sorry. Choose file. Take any document that you want to upload. Okay. And then author name, the student can give their name and then upload this file. The file gets uploaded, and then these are required file, test, and then add submission. So the file is getting uploaded here. So your submission has been successfully done. So the moment you do this, the report gets generated and it will throw that report accordingly. So here you can see here 14% similarity. So we have kept the turnaround like timing also I mean that's why it is throwing you the results immediately. The student can also see this report by clicking on that 14, and they will be able to see the similarity percentage accordingly. I'll take up the other example actually. So let me go to topic 1. That example is much better. I want to show some kind of one more notification that it throws up, which is hidden characters and other things. So let's see that before. Yeah, thanks. Due date is something where till what date the student can upload their documents. So 63% is shown. The student can resubmit if the due date is till March 30th or May 31st. They can keep checking. So due date will really restrict the students to upload or stop uploading. If you want to restrict them, then you can do it. So this is Feedback Studio. It's giving you general overview. When you click on 63%, it will give you the similarity percentage like this. No, we didn't do any settings, right? Okay, this is student account. That's why it is not showing any kind of test, I guess. Okay, let me go back to the faculty account. I just want to show you one of the key features what faculty will get to see, because that is very important for any faculty. Whenever the student submits, you will be able to see these kind of reports. Okay, so take up the course where the student has submitted. Whichever the test account you want to use it, you can use the topic. Click on that. See the report. Click on the report. So the report will be shown. Whichever student name and everything will be shown at the bottom. So let's click on this. This is how your account looks like. Student account was shown in like this, where they didn't have feedback mechanism, but they will be able to see the comments. But for your account, okay, why is it not showing the result? Okay, Pradeep, so please discuss if you want. If we can discuss at the end. I'll let you know. You can talk to us. I'll show you that before we discuss about it. Yeah, I'll let you know when we can discuss about it. Just a second. I'll just show you this report. Then we can proceed for that question. So this is Moodle based Turnitin report, which we are seeing for Turnitin Feedback Studio, where the student has submitted some document where there was 63% of similarity. You can see here, but we have not graded it. You can see the Turnitin paper ID. When was it submitted? Also, it is shown. So when we clicked on that 63%, the report has to be generated. So let it get generated. It's taking some time. Yeah, Pradeep sir, please go ahead with your question. Let this report get generated. In the meanwhile, you can ask your question. Pradeep sir, can you hear me?
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, you're audible
Can
now.
you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
As you have mentioned about the due date, is there any system to send the automated message to the end user regarding the due date?
No, the student will be able to
Is there an
see.
option in your system?
Yeah, it's a student will be able to see in their settings when is the due
Are you
date,
clear
sir.
about what?
The student will be able to see where is the due date, sir.
What I'm saying is about the, is there any? Yeah.
So
if there is any possibility to send a message to the student regarding the due date, automated one?
No. So whenever the student clicks on any assignment, there is a caution sign which I showed, which tells what are the instructions that you have given, when is the start date, when is the due date. The moment they click on the assignment only, they will be able to see. Just a second, I'll show you that example also. So when we open
Should
this,
I
you want to share
share
it?
my screen?
Yeah, I'll just try once more. I'll show this due date part for sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then we can share your screen because mine it's not loading. So Pradeep sir, when we have set the due date, when the student goes to their account, it will show something like this. Just a second.
What I'm asking is that is there any possibility to send the automated message to the particular end user saying that the due date is over?
You can't send any email, but you can send a discussion tab can be generated, and you can send a common email to everyone. Yes, that is possible. Common email is possible. But normally what happens is whenever the student takes an assignment, when they click on the class or assignment, there will be a notification like this, sir. Start date, due date, post date. Start date is the assignment start date, due date is the due date before the student has to submit.
Yeah.
Post date is
But
where
I'm
you
asking
share your
about
feedback.
But I'm asking about the reminder.
Reminder. No, sir. You have. Is there a option in Moodle you can do that? If Moodle has some options like that, definitely you can do it. But here in ours, you may have to click on discussion tab, and you might have to send out on discussion mail to everyone, and then you can do it. But apart from that, you cannot. You cannot do any customizations there. Okay. The report is generated. Pradeep sir, is that explained, or you need any clarification more on that?
I'm talking Nirupul again.
Yes,
I need the clarification about this post date.
Post date is something where you start giving feedback. No, ma'am. Did I show you about this quick marks, voice comments, and rubrics? Once you give all these things to student, it will get displayed in the student account. That is posting. You are posting your comments to student. You're sharing your feedback with your students. That's post date.
Okay. That means the data I'm giving.
Yes. For example, if you give any inputs
so
to your student, that will reflect in the student account after this date. So normally faculty will keep a day later or 2 days, a week later on. Once they get every submissions, then they will try to do it. The moment why I kept the very next day is, if the student starts submitting, and if we are using institutional repository, it can check similarity between the class, between the institutions. So I've kept the due date as early as possible. Purna, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just to add on to that, ma'am. So basically, you can start providing feedback as soon as the student submits, but post date is the date by when the student will be able to see the feedback that you have shared. So which is why we usually recommend to keep it as close as possible to the start date, so that the student gets the maximum time to get your feedback, revise their submissions, maybe do multiple revisions if required, and then make the final submission before the whatever due date you have set for that.
It's very clear. I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Normally, what students, when submitting their assignments, most of the students submit on the due date, before the due date. But few gets left behind. And for them, can they submit afterwards? Can do the similarity reports generate for them? Can they submit?
Ma'am, there is two options which we showed earlier. One is after due date acceptance. Okay, you can take the submission after due date by going to any assignment. For example, a class is here. When you go on view, you can go here and you can click on edit assignment settings. If you want to take any assignment, you can change the due date here, and you want to give an extension, you can do it. Or else go to optional settings and allow submission after due date. You can give both these options, ma'am. It is available in Moodle also and in the native platform also.
But will the similarity reports generate after that?
Yes, after you extend the due date, or if you select this option, generate after due date also, allow submission after due date, it gets generated after due date also. So my suggestion is you extend the due date, next 10 days, next 5 days after the due date is over. If not, the students will never.
Actually, I don't want to extend the due date, because students should not be encouraged to submit later.
Yeah.
I don't want to extend the due date.
So then you can choose allow submission after due date, so that the student can submit, but they will not be able to see any reports that or comments that is shared by you.
I see. Thank you.
Pleasure, ma'am. Pradeep sir, was your question answered? I take it as yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So the very important thing for all the faculty is, please note this, there is something called as flags that is noted. Any of your students, we covered everything. This flags was one thing. If any of your student is doing any kind of cheating or malpractice or something like that, it will show as flags. One is hidden characters, then there is replaced characters or hidden characters also. If any of your students documents, it shows that is hidden, it will be shown here. It will be colored. It is called as white spaces. This is what the students try to do it, so that they will avoid or evade the similarity report or reduce the similarity report. They try to do this. They try to add extra characters, hide it in, color it in white, and do this. So there are replaced characters. You can see here, there are some replaced characters which they have to. So any students, if there is any flags like this, please have a check on those documents. It's very important. I'll show you a very good example for this one example that I always try to show us. Some students, when they do this, they change this to image file and they'll save it and they'll send it to you. There'll be huge difference. We also give an indication if it is on the native platform. If you're using Turnitin platform, we will give you a caution sign like this. Turnitin has flagged this paper for using unusual word patterns, which is interfering normal match detection. When you use this, it will have something called as hidden characters or something. You will be, so this Arvind PDF is 2%, Arvind Word, the same document, is 87%. So that's the difference. So please have an eye and have a check if any point of time. If you want to know more about it, we can do it. So hidden characters, please, you need to check. I'll take up this question. I have a report of a student at first attempt. It generated 0% similarity. Again, I checked. So this is because of no repository. Please go to settings, assignment settings, and change your settings to no repository. You have to go to optional settings. Always choose as no repository, no repository, no repository. What you have done is you have done standard paper repository. And also what people will tend to do is they will do quick submit. So quick submit is another reason why this happens. Quick submit will be visible on the home page. The moment you click on quick submit, when you are clicking on submit option, you have to choose all this and submit papers to changes to no repository. If you don't do this, all your documents will get it saved in repository. And by now, if it is saved and if you want to get it deleted, do not select that document and delete by yourself. What people will try to do is they'll go to their account, they'll select like this and they'll delete it. Do not do this. Share this paper ID with Ms. Tanuja ma'am. Tanuja ma'am can send an email to our support team. I'll share that email ID with you all so that you can get this paper deleted. Zip file is normally how you have all the collated documents, and you can collate everything and upload the zip file. It will get you the reports in split. You can download that report also.
Yeah,
Okay.
just to add on, so for the zip file, please just ensure that there is only a single file within a zip. So if there are zip files within a zip file, then it will throw up an error. Otherwise, the upload method is the same. So once you upload, it will unzip all the files and generate separate similarity report. But you need to ensure that it should not contain further zip files within the zip file, and the maximum number of papers that can be there is 1000, and the zip file should be less than 200 MB. Those are the
File requirements. So, yeah. So these are the things. Ultimately, there is help section on the right hand side top of the page. Go to this help section. If you have any queries or questions, this is the place you can get into, where there is Turnitin website. You can click on this Turnitin website. You can go to instructor tab here. Every step is explained here, step by step. How do you create class? I didn't speak about teaching assistant, but if you want to create a teaching assistant, you can have a TA with you. And how does ETSC rater work? How does peer mark work? How does grading works? All the steps are explained here. There's one question again which has come. Can you please explain more about grading system? Okay, grading system is basically you go to libraries. So when you go to libraries, you can create your quick marks rubrics manager, and you can do that. That's the grading system that you can do. Gradebook will tell you how grades are there in your class. So library section is where you have to create the rubrics. I can share you the steps how do you create a rubrics, but you need to create your own rubrics. But there are predefined rubrics which is created for K-12 schools, but that will not be helpful for you because you can see here there are some predefined ones which is related to K-12, kindergarten to 12th standard. But for you, you need to create your own. I can share you a steps how do you create a rubrics and how you can create them. Can we have this in M-Learning platform? Yes, Tanuja ma'am, there is an option in Moodle platform also. So Moodle also has this option which we showed earlier. Let me go here.
And also when you open the summary report, even from Moodle, you will add the rubrics from the
My voice is breaking.
the viewer itself. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, better. I think it was my internet which gave some issues, I guess. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you.
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, so let me go back. So Puna, you were saying something, I missed it out.
No, I was just saying that from that the evaluation viewer mode of the similarity report also, which they have opened up from the submission that they have made, where you see the similarity report, there also there's an option to add the quick mark in the.
Yeah. So to answer sir's questions again, if you want to, oh my ma'am, Mr. Tanuja asked this question. So you can edit and put this feedback and grading system even in Moodle, ma'am. We have enabled that. You can use it here at any point of time. So here, your assignments are there. You can do it. You can set this accordingly in your LMS also. It's visible. You can do that at any point of time. All right. Is there any other questions or we can wind up accordingly? All right. There is help quick start guides, which there is help.turnitin.com also. You can go to our native platform and get some guides also. So points to note, please do not share your user ID and password in any of your public domain or anywhere. If you don't do it, no one can check your documents. If you do it only, the moment you do it, they'll be able to see all your research works, all your documents. So please have that communicated to entire University of KDU. That's very important. And this recording also of the session, please keep it to your internal purpose and do not share it with anyone. So if you need any support or anything, this is a whole team of Turnitin. You can mail any one of us and you can feel free to reach out at any point of time. And also this is my mail ID. This QR code will help you to give feedback. I'll share you the link also. You can share this. For people who wants to get it deleted, this is the mail ID, which is tiisupport@turnitin.com. Mrs. Tanuja should send an email. Only then we can get it deleted. Only then we can get it. No one else. Yeah, we will share the recording. We have got that request. Can we call a paper is plagiarized legally? By looking at the similarity report, you never can tell that this is plagiarized. There is two major differences there. You are seeing similarity percentage, not plagiarism. Plagiarism is defined for certain things by a reviewer. If I'm a reviewer of a journal, I will see the similarity percentage first. Then I'll see how much content is copied. Based on that, I can tell this is plagiarized. I cannot do that. But I can legally sue anyone if they have used my content and tell that this is my document and you have used it, and I can sue anyone in law, by the law. I can go to court, I can sue them, and I can get all the rights. So it's like basically like patent. If someone has used that patent or filed that patent, I can't use the same thing and file somewhere else. It is legally unacceptable. For self-plagiarism, what you do in India, what happens is there are three aspects here. Before I do any thesis, I need to have at least 3 publications under my name. Only then I'm allowed. But what I do is I pull out my research article and put it in my thesis as a chapter. But I can't do it right now. They're not accepting that. It is called as self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism is also not accepted these days. So you need to give self-citation for it, give credit yourself, and then you can proceed. Okay, any more questions? If you want to unmute yourself, you can feel free to do it. So I can answer any of those questions. And Manjula ma'am has one request. If everyone can switch on your videos, they need to take a screenshot of it. Yeah, Pradeep sir, you had some question. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Akshay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes. Please go ahead.
Mr. Akshay, I'm Chaturanga. So just I want to know that can we give the access to someone else? It means suppose I'm administratively handle some programs, but I'm not an instructor.
Okay.
We receive the assignments from the various instructors, especially from the visiting lecturers to the faculty.
Okay.
So we give the instructions, we distribute the instructions among the students.
Okay. So that is your call. I'm not sure about this. We have given certain licensing for KDU. This is number of student licenses, number of faculty licenses. That's an internal call that can be taken with Miss Manjula or Miss Tanuja and other people who are the decision makers. And you can decide whether you want to take it or not. Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. Just to add on, please ensure that if whoever you're giving it to should be internal to your organization, and you give out a valid license. I mean, never share your credentials. That will be a misuse of the system.
Absolutely. Normally, if they are visiting, I don't think so. That will be a plus point for you. But yeah, that's your internal decision. If you can take a call on that. Right. Any more questions? Anything else to be? Poona shared that link. Please get into that educator program. That's really helpful for everyone. That will really help you a lot. So yeah, that's it from our end. If there's no questions, we can wind up accordingly. Okay, I think there's nothing else. Thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful time. It was indeed pleasure talking to you all. There were a few dropouts, but good number of participants were there. Thank you, Manjula ma'am, for coordinating. Rajita, Mr. Rajita.
Thank you. Let me. Thank you, Mr. Akshay. Let me wrap up the session. Thank you very much, Mr. Akshay, for sharing your knowledge and your experiences with us. We appreciate all of you, and you are being here. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to convey our sincere gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, Major General Pires, for giving his approval to renew the Turnitin subscription with Great Mark tool, and to give his approval to conduct the session today. And also, I would like to give my thanks to our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Brigadier W. Chandraswari, for giving his permission to organize in this webinar today. And also, I would like to express my gratitude to our acting librarian, Mrs. T.C. Ranavella, who really worked hard to make this event successful, and her contribution towards the subscription of Turnitin to KDU. And also, I would like to extend my thanks to Mr. Mukherjee, Senior Manager Subscription from Turnitin, who was coordinating the session today for KDU, and Ms. Purna Bose from Turnitin for her support extended toward the success of the today's session. Also, I would like to extend our gratitude to Mr. Rajita, Network Admin KDU, who helped us by giving his backend support towards the success of today's session. And also, I would like to thank all of the senior officers, professors, and lecturers who were present today for participating for this valuable session. And thank you very much all. And thanks again, all of you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Good day. See you.